Hey, what's up, buddy?
Oh, good to see you here. Would you like to continue the conversation?
Yeah, I absolutely would. I have
Okay.
a
Do you want to
better
start
working
where
vocabulary.
we left off?
No, we can actually start from the very beginning.
Okay, good. So you're an atheist. What is your what is your principled criterion of atheism?
I don't believe there's any justification for the belief in God.
If there was rational justification for God, would you believe in him?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, is would God by definition be an absolute upon which everything depends?
Not necessarily. I'm not sure.
God by definition would be, let's say, in the Christian God is an immaterial mind who has the power to initiate and bring into existence everything that exists and sustain it. So by that definition, God would be the absolute, right?
By that definition, yes.
Okay, good. So that's the working definition that I'd like to work with. Is that
Okay.
acceptable to you?
Yeah.
So you reject the belief in an absolute known as the Christian God because it's not rationally justified, right?
Correct.
Is that an arbitrary principle or a consistent one?
It is somewhat consistent.
Well, it's either arbitrary or not arbitrary. Which is it?
So I understand now what the technique is. So what we're going to get into is presuppositionalism, right? Do you want to just start that conversation?
Is it arbitrary or not
I
arbitrary?
can't answer your yes or no like this because I understand how the
Okay.
trap works.
Is your principle one that you use consistently?
Past
Or
presuppositional beliefs, yes, it is.
okay, so you're consistent in applying rational justification for your ultimate beliefs. Is that right?
Past presuppositional beliefs, yes, it is.
I don't know what that means. Okay, that's more verbal misdirection. Do
Sure.
you
So no,
require rational justification for your most ultimate beliefs?
are you going to let me to explain this, or you're going to keep talking over me?
Well, I'd like just like a non-evasive response.
Sure. So the response is past presuppositional beliefs, yes.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
Can I explain it?
Yeah, sure.
So the foundation of which we build our reason and our logic on is on presupposed beliefs. So presupposed beliefs such as I experience things, or causality exists, or I can create logical rational statements. These are things that are by definition unjustified, that every single person that engages in any sort of argument has to rely on.
Is that true?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Because that's the bounds of what we can prove as humans.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So our most foundational mental states don't have a justificatory path.
Correct.
Good. So that necessarily entails the falsity of the Christian God.
It what?
It necessarily follows from that the falsity of the Christian God. Are you aware of that?
Not necessarily. Well, unless your definition of the Christian. Okay, sure.
Necessarily it would, because in the Christian worldview, by definition, the Christian God has ordained and sovereignly given us our most foundational beliefs about reality, and they're therefore, by definition, not axiomatic or assumptions.
Okay, sure.
So
Yeah, I can accept that. Sure.
Great. So what your assertion that our most foundational mental states are axiomatic or unjustified assumptions, then from that it necessarily follows the falsity of the Christian God. So agreed?
Sure.
Okay, good. Do you have a defeater for the Christian God?
Can you explain what you mean by defeater?
Yeah, if you don't have a defeater that falsifies the Christian God, then your stipulation that our most foundational beliefs are axiomatic or just assumptions is not necessarily true.
I don't think that I need a defeater for a belief.
Yeah,
I think
you do. You need a defeater for the existence of God, for the existence of the Christian God, because in the case that the Christian God exists, unless you rule him out, then in the case that he exists, then your stipulation is not necessarily true, that we start from foundational assumptions.
if my foundational assumptions lead to your definition being incorrect, then I guess foundationally I would acknowledge that your definition is impossible. Sure, but
I'm waiting for a defeater for the Christian God.
I've already applied one. If my presuppositional beliefs are the defeater, then that would be the defeater.
And giving me an if is not a defeater. Do you have a defeater?
I'm going by your definition. Your definition was that my presuppositional beliefs rule out the existence of your Christian God. Can I please finish my sentence, please, before you cut me off? Okay. So you asked me to provide a defeater to your Christian God after you told me that my presuppositions were a defeater for your Christian God. So I don't understand why you're asking me for a defeater when I've apparently already provided you one.
Are you using circular reasoning?
Can you please let me finish a statement before you cut me
Oh,
off?
I thought you were done.
Okay, I was almost done, but you're really anxious to get in with your next fallacy, okay? So just let me finish a statement before you go on. Go ahead.
So you're done?
I'm done now, yes.
Okay. Is your defeater for the Christian God circular?
If you consider an unjustified presuppositional belief circular, yes.
Okay, so you show that the Christian God is false because of an unjustified stipulation?
If those unjustified stipulations are presuppositional beliefs, yes.
Okay, so the Christian God doesn't exist because you just imagine it.
This is completely non sequitur. I'm sorry. Can you explain?
Okay, so what fundamental idea that you hold to falsifies the Christian God?
The fundamental idea is that we cannot epistemologically defend causal chain of events or rational forms of argument or our observations as conscious beings, that these are indefensible, that we cannot do it as humans.
I'm not understanding what you just said. How does that falsify the Christian God?
It falsifies it because you told me that my presuppositional beliefs necessarily falsify it. That was your statement. You connected those two things together.
No, I didn't say that. I said what necessarily follows from that.
Okay.
I didn't say that your stipulation falsifies. You see, you need to listen more carefully to what I say.
I'm listening very carefully to what you say.
Good. Well, what you just said to me showed me that you weren't.
Okay, can I summarize?
If I say what necessarily follows entails the falsity of the Christian God, that doesn't mean that stipulation falsifies the Christian God. If your assertion can be shown to be veridical, then you would have a defeater, but you didn't show that it was veridical.
Whoever does that, I'm going to end you, okay? No gnomes on this stream.
Okay? Now, I'm still waiting for a very cogent, very circumspect falsifier for the Christian God. Is it your basal assumption that falsifies the Christian God?
It would appear so, according to your definition, yes.
No, not my definition. I'm asking you, what is it in one sentence or two that necessarily falsifies the Christian God?
I presuppose things such as my ability to observe or have a conscious experience.
What are you presupposing?
I'm presupposing that logic or reason exists. I presuppose that causal events happen. I presuppose that I can observe things.
Let's go through these one at a time.
Sure.
One at a time. Okay, so you presuppose that logic exists. Are you talking about reasoning, or are you talking about the laws of logic?
I'm talking about our epistemological understanding of logic, that A can lead to B can lead to C, truth tables, basic things like that.
No, we need to get even more rudimentary than that.
Okay, how about this? Deductive reasoning? Let's go with that.
We have to go even more foundationally than that. Let's talk about A equals A and A cannot equal not A. Does the stipulation that A cannot not equal not A, does that falsify the Christian God?
According to you, it does.
No, it doesn't. I never said that. I want you. Does the assertion A cannot equal not A at all times in all places falsify the Christian God?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It depends on your definition of the Christian
God.
God.
Wait a minute. I'm still waiting. I just gave you my definition.
Okay, well then I would say necessarily no. That particular thing necessarily no.
I'm still waiting. Still waiting. And give me a circumspect case that the Christian God doesn't exist, because in the absence of you falsifying the Christian God, then your stipulation that we all start foundationally in terms of unjustified axioms is not necessarily true. So you have to falsify the Christian God at least.
Do you realize that you're talking in a circle?
I'm
or
waiting.
Do you not believe you are?
I'm waiting for you to falsify the Christian God, sir.
So what I have said is that I believe in certain presuppositions that are necessarily unjustified. You said that those presuppositions necessarily entail that God doesn't exist. And now you're asking me why God doesn't exist. Do you want to talk about whether or not we can presuppose those things?
Listen, sir, you see, I debate hundreds, if not thousands of people over the last couple of years. If you think your evasiveness is going to schmooze me over, it's not going to happen.
I'm not being evasive.
I asked you a question, sir. Can you falsify the Christian God?
Do you understand that you're talking in a circle?
Can you falsify the Christian God, sir?
Are you just a troll? Is this all?
No,
I spent so much time today looking at this argument. I think you're just a troll.
Okay, good. You can say that all you want. Now, I'm still waiting for you to falsify the Christian God.
I don't have to falsify the Christian God. We have to talk about my Can I please finish my statement responding to you?
Falsify the Christian God?
I say that I have presuppositions, and you say those presuppositions necessarily entail that God is not real.
Do you have any objective stipulations that falsify the Christian God?
I don't understand the question.
Do you have any truth claims that falsify the Christian God?
I don't need any truth claims.
Can you falsify the Christian God?
I have, by assuming my presuppositions, according to you.
So what you were saying is, in virtue of something that you imagine, because it doesn't cohere and conform to the Christian God, therefore the Christian God doesn't exist?
If that's your argument, sure.
No, sir, that was a question. It wasn't an argument.
It sounds like you're just rephrasing what we've already stated 5 minutes ago.
Listen, there's only so much evasiveness I'll put up with.
I'm not being evasive at all.
Okay, one more time, I'm going to ask you, what is your objective statement that falsifies the Christian God?
And again, I will answer the same way, that I have presuppositions that are necessarily unjustified, because epistemologically we cannot justify some presuppositions, and according to your definition of a Christian God, these presuppositions necessarily entail that he is not true.
Okay, so you falsify the Christian God from your foundational starting points, and are they the product of your imagination?
I'm not sure. I can't really say.
So you don't know where they come from?
That is exactly what I have just said to you.
Okay, good. So the Christian God does not exist because of you have ideas that you don't know that they're veridical.
Exactly.
Good. So the Christian God is falsified in virtue of I don't know?
Correct.
Okay. Do you realize how absurd that is?
Can you justify your presuppositions to me?
Do you see? I hope somebody's recording this. Okay.
Why are you acting like presuppositions need to be properly justified?
Do you realize what you just said?
He's grandstanding right now.
You just stated that the Christian God does not exist because I don't know.
Can I hear your justification for your presupposition?
Did you? I will be glad to discuss with you my point of view, but I'm waiting for a cogent defeater for the Christian God. Saying the Christian God does not exist in virtue of you stipulating I don't know is not a defeater for the Christian God.
I don't appreciate characterizing our epistemological limits as I don't know.
Sir?
No, I don't. I reject your characterization of my argument.
Good.
So can I rephrase my argument? Can I rephrase my argument?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So epistemologically, we cannot evaluate whether or not presuppositions are true or false. It is not possible for humans to do. For you to summarize that position, can I finish my statement, please? Sure. For you to evaluate that statement and claim that it's the same as just simply saying, I don't know, is an incredibly harsh characterization of what I'm saying.
Okay, do you know what's possible, sir?
Using what we have agreed are reasonable ways to make deductions.
I'm not interested in what is we. I'm asking you. Do you know what's possible?
Like truly, I don't know what the question means. Like truly, no. The answer is no. The answer is always going to be no to a question like that. No.
Okay, so you don't know anything is possible.
Correct. From a very foundational level, correct.
Right. So then why are you here stipulating anything if you don't know anything is possible?
Because I'm curious how you can make those same claims when you rely on the same presuppositions that I do. Sure.
Okay. So anything that you assert, you don't know that it's possible, right?
Okay. I want to hear your justification for your presuppositions. I've already answered yes a million times, sir. I don't want to talk about my system anymore. I want to hear you justify your presuppositions.
Okay, good. So I will explain to you justifying the Christian worldview momentarily, but I want to go on record here.
It's already been on record, sir. Nobody is hiding.
Do not overtalk me. If you overtalk me, I'll server mute you, okay?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, oh, boy, right. Yeah.
Destiny?
Now, I wanted to go on record here, and I hope somebody's recording this, that he has stipulated he doesn't know anything is possible, okay?
Welcome to epistemology. Yes, that is correct.
Good. I'm going to remind you of that further on in the conversation. I'm going to Mirandize you. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Now, we can know that the Christian God exists in virtue of the Christian God's revelatory acts in natural revelation, which include how he's constructed this world.
Okay, wait. Before we do this, can I stop and ask you questions? Because I don't want to hear you preach for 2 hours where I can. If not, I have no interest.
I didn't even finish.
I don't need you to finish this.
Okay, I don't want to have to server mute you, sir.
So I don't want to listen to you preach.
I don't want to have to server.
Calm down. Calm down.
Okay, I server muted. Okay.
Stop.
No, Darth.
That's not a smart move.
Darth,
you just
shut the fuck up. It's my goddamn server. All of you. Destiny, you the fuck included. Because I don't know who the fuck you are. All I know is that you're doing some bullshit AMAs on fake fucking politics servers. So you're gonna shut the fuck up. And Darth, you're gonna shut the fuck up. Because Destiny, the only fucking thing I know about you is that you have the same name as a fucking video game. So, here's what we're gonna fucking do. We're gonna unmute Destiny, right? See if he's not as shitty as the video game, okay? Then, we're gonna go and have this shit make sense, right? And if you don't like it, get the fuck out of my server. Destiny included. Because in case you forgot, we are the largest politics server, always will be. We don't ask for AMAs. People like Destiny just show up here because, well, they fucking have to if anybody gives a fuck. So,
how do you even find out the size of a server?
Here's how we're going to start. You go on and say your point, but do not cut Destiny off if he asks a question. So you go and say your point, but don't drag it on too long.
Okay,
we're not going to do the bickering.
Yeah, he asked me a question. I was answering when he cut me off.
Okay, so this is my question. This is what I would like to do for a discussion.
No, you asked me a question. I'm going to.
All right, hold on. No, we're going to restart. We're restarting, Darth.
Okay.
He asked me to defend the Christian worldview.
That's not what I asked.
Darth, you've defended that for forever. We get it.
This is
Destiny's going to ask you a question, and then you're going to answer it. And you guys can go, and you could go back and forth. So how we're going to do it is, Destiny's going to ask questions. The Christian worldview thing, what just happened before, let's pretend it didn't happen.
We found our moderator, boys.
Destiny,
ANGELTHUMP.
Where we just were, great. But let's have a fresh restart. So Destiny, go ahead.
Okay, this is how I would like to do this discussion. If you don't like to do it, I acknowledge that, and that's fine.
No, your opinion does not matter.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Darth.
Okay, well, ask your fucking question. We don't want to hear how the debate's gonna go.
Okay, I'm not talking. I'm talking to Darth. If Darth doesn't want to participate in the discussion this way.
No, you're talking to me right now.
Okay.
You're gonna answer the fucking question or get the fuck out.
Yeah, I thought I was asking the question. Are you getting lost?
Don't say how it's gonna go. Ask the question.
Okay, I'm good on that. So, Darth, if you want to have this conversation, I want to move through point by point rather than me asking a question and then you giving me
I'm not hearing a question.
Okay, my question is, can you justify your presuppositions without talking about the whole history of your Christian faith? I want you to justify your presuppositions. So, for example, you interpret the divine word of God by reading it in a Bible. How can you trust your senses there to lead you into some kind of like ability to perceive words on paper? How can you justify that presupposition?
Okay, sir, you're asking more. You're asking.
Yeah, that was a little bit
question.
Shit.
Listen. Yeah, you need to listen, Destiny. Yeah. Now, how do I justify?
What is the main? So, Darth, he's asking you to justify it, but in I think, Destiny, correct me if I'm wrong, in a way that doesn't
justify child pornography.
The entire. Okay, mute them. Destiny, I think you're trying to say, can he explain it without explaining the entire Christian worldview, correct?
I just want to know how he can trust his senses. That's my basic question. Justify that presupposition.
So there you go, Darth.
How do I trust the basic reliability of my sense perception?
Yes.
In virtue of God has ordained that mankind, insofar as we don't have a major defect in our senses, has basically reliable sense perception.
How do you know you don't have a major defect in your sense?
Why? How would I know?
So are you telling me you don't know? You're basing your entire worldview on a sense that you can't justify?
No, I do know because God has revealed it.
How do you know that God is revealing it to you?
He revealed it in the Bible.
How are you able to read the Bible and trust the words that you're reading are true?
With my eyes, because
how do you know your eyes accurately give you?
I'm going to explain to you because the way that I know things is I'm starting with my absolute. My absolute is the Christian worldview as an entire package. Okay.
How do you justify your absolute of the Christian worldview?
By God's revelation.
How does God reveal things to you in a way that you know He's revealing things to you?
Okay, through His sovereignty and omniscience and omnipotence.
And how are you capable of perceiving that?
Okay, how do I do that? Through the way God constructed this world.
You're not answering the question.
I am answering the question.
How are you able to perceive the world?
How do I perceive the world? The way that God designed it.
How are you able to perceive what God designs?
How do I did it? He gave me senses. He made molecules.
How can you trust those senses?
How do I trust that? Because He has ordained that my mind doesn't even question the basic reliability.
Your mind doesn't question it, so it's unjustified. No. Can you repeat that? That your mind does not question your senses? That these are unjustified? That is exactly what you're saying.
Okay, no, I didn't say it was justified. Justification has to do with a justificatory path. I can know something even though I may not be able to articulate how I know it. We can know things ultimately because of the way God has ordained things. So, for example, can a child know certain things without knowing how it knows it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Does that child know some things without knowing how it knows it because there's some justificatory path?
Sure.
Good. So I can know things such as my sense perceptions are basically reliable because God has ordained me being made in His image that I don't even question the basic reliability of my sense perception. Now I question that I might be nearsighted or farsighted or things like that. But that is not the same thing as questioning the basic reliability of my sense perception. So I know that my sense perceptions are basic reliably because the way God has ordained mankind's sense perceptions and cognition to operate.
If you can presuppose that, then why can I not presuppose
I didn't say.
You just did. You gave me a reason for why you presuppose it. Unjustified.
Well, when you say it's a presupposition, what do you mean by that?
A presupposition is something that is necessarily unjustified. You've told me that you're incapable of justifying it because you don't know the words or whatever, but that's you're telling me that.
Then those fundamental mental states do have a justification. They have a justificatory path in the way God ordained it.
And how do you know that?
How do I know that? Because he revealed it.
And do you understand that you're moving in circles?
Yeah, it's called epistemological circularity. Do you object to that in principle?
Not necessarily, but you made it sound like I was the only one that was circularly rationalizing my beliefs.
No. Here's the situation. Either you're going to be employing epistemological circularity or non-epistemological circularity. Now, when you were employing circular reasoning yesterday, was that epistemological circularity or non-epistemological?
When I say that I have presuppositions that are unjustified and I just assume them to be true on the merit of themselves, yes.
All right, but epistemological circularity has to do with your ultimate authority. Are you aware of that?
I don't think I believe that's true.
That's how I'm defining epistemological circularity. It deals with what your ultimate authority is. If it doesn't deal with your ultimate authority, then it is non-epistemologically circular. Yesterday, you were not appealing to epistemological circularity, unless, of course, you want to change your mind right now.
No, I believe I was appealing to something. Do you have anything else to say insofar as justifying your presuppositions? Otherwise, we're done with this discussion. Do you have any other way to justify your presuppositions?
Okay. No, the justification for anything ultimately that it conforms with the mind of God and how it has been revealed through God's revelation. Now, you stated earlier that you're not going to answer my question. Well, what's the question? I'm not answering.
Can you actually justify any of these God is revealed as divine, whatever, without talking in circles? Can you admit to me that you have no justification for these presuppositions?
No, the ultimate,
so that we can be done with this discussion.
When one appeals to one's ultimate authority, it is inescapable circular in terms of epistemological circularity. Now, do you object to that in principle?
No, this is what I just told you 5 minutes ago.
Okay, good. So you don't reject my invocation that the Bible is the word of God in principle. So
I absolutely do.
What? Oh, okay. Well, what
because
is
I don't,
your? Now, hold on a second. Please don't overtalk me. Now. Either you object to epistemological circularity in principle or you don't. Do you object to it in principle?
Of course not.
Okay, good. Then when you object to the revelation of the Christian God, is that it does not conform and cohere to your ultimate authority. Now, what is your ultimate authority?
Basic presuppositional beliefs. Things like inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning, the trust of my senses.
Okay, your ultimate authority, is it the basic reliability of your cognition?
Sure. That's one of them, yeah.
Is it the basic reliability of your sense perception?
That's one of them, yeah.
Now, is the basic reliability of your cognition that is the ultimate authority, does it have a necessary prerequisite of causality and laws of nature?
I'm not sure how to answer that. Can you ask it in a different way?
Yeah, your fundamental basic cognition. Does it depend on your brain states?
I would say yes.
Okay, do your brain states have a prerequisite of causality and laws of nature?
Yes.
So your ultimate authority, which are your brain states and your basic reliability of your cognition, depends upon the prerequisites of causality.
Correct.
Now, okay, good. How is it the case that there are causal connections between events?
Causal connections are an unjustified presupposition. I cannot justify these two.
Okay, good. So basically, you've now admitted that your reason, which is the ultimate standard and authority by which you reject the Christian worldview, is that your reason, which is the ultimate authority, is grounded in an unjustified starting point.
I'm sorry, I thought we had this conversation 10 minutes ago. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, your entire position is unjustified.
Yes, as is yours. Correct. Do we have anything else to talk about?
Well, hold on a second. Now, you just said, so is mine. Is that an objective statement?
Yes.
Is that a product of your reason?
Yes.
Is your reason justified?
Yes.
In virtue of what?
in virtue of I feel like I'm using reasonable statements to deductively point to the fact
is that objective statement in virtue of causal connections?
Yes.
Okay, how do you know there are causal connections?
Because it's presupposed.
Okay, so do you imagine it?
No, I don't. I reject the idea of imagination as how we justify.
So since you reject imagination, how is it the case that there are causal connections?
Because it's presupposed. Can I ask you a question? Do you think
when you say
I don't want to play this for 10 hours. Can I ask you a question, or are you going to ask me a million more questions?
You're not going to talk over me. You're not going to bulldoze over me, dude. Okay.
I'm not. You're the one bulldozing.
You're not.
I don't want to run down this path. This fallacious path.
Okay. All right. Your server muted. Please do not overtalk me. Okay. I'm going to unmute you.
No.
Did that for me. Hold on a second. Let me unmute him. Now stop overtalking me. Now. You stated that your reasoning is the ultimate authority by which you reject the revelation of the Christian God. So your reasoning is the ultimate authority, but your ultimate authority depends that it is the case that there are causal connections. Now, do you assert that there are causal connections?
Am I only allowed to answer questions for the rest of the time you talk?
Are you asserting that there are causal connections?
I think I've proven my point that your presuppositions are unjustified.
Are you asserting that
I'm not going to play this game, dude.
Okay, goodbye. Thank you.
See you later.
For your time.
Yep.
See, this is the name of the game, folks, is once they get confronted with their crap.
That, but they have a lot of oil industry there. If the United States were to go into the Venezuela,
just fucking.
All right, I think I got my point across.